What's up, dudes, lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, I'm giving you a Ninja deck profile right here, and yeah, so this is one of my favorite decks, pretty much ever, and like right now. So obviously, like you're feeling a certain deck for a little bit, you may stop feeling it for a little bit, but you always go back to it. Ninjas are always going to be one of those decks that I always love. I may go in and out of favor with it as the times go, depending on what the meta looks like and how it matches, and if I'm just tired of playing it because I play it a ton. But yeah, it's like my favorite deck of all time, and this is, I think, like probably the best, if not like very, very close to like the best list you can play right now. This is like so good. This is like very close to what you want to be. You see a lot of profiles online of ninjas where they play like either like the lock variant where it's a dark Simorg with anti-spell fragrance, but you have to hard draw anti-spell fragrance for that lock to be relevant. So I don't like that build. You just play bricks otherwise, like bad cards otherwise in your deck. And then there's like the super heavy stun variant where it's literally like ninjas that search you stun cards and then like your ninja stun cards and like more stun cards. Like it's crazy. Like and that deck I think is like it's so mediocre just because like the ninjas don't really spam you that much. So I don't like that build either. So I think the best build is this one. And this one's strategy is sort of one where you go first, you set up a little bit of stun, and you stun your opponent enough, and then on your next turn you just explode, and you probably either OTK in that turn or just set up a board where like if you didn't OTK your opponent's not going to break through it. So that's the main purpose of the deck. It also has an alternate win condition with that, which I love, where you can just like steal games sometimes that way. Anyway, let's just hop into the list now, shall we? So obviously, first card, most important card, Hanzo. He's your best card in your deck. It's literally what the deck is centered around. He's your best starter. He's your best extender. He's everything. He's Stratos, but better. It's just ninjas aren't as supported as heroes are, so he doesn't get as much love. But Hanzo's incredible. On normal summon, he will search you a Ninjutsu R card, and on special summon or flip summon, he will search you a ninja monster. So really, really good capabilities. On that turn too, like I said, when you explode, you can loop him up to 3. I think the most I've ever done is 4 times in a turn, and just +4 in one turn. It's insane. So Hanzo, best card in the deck. You always want him. Then the next monster, we have Yellow Ninja here. He's one of the new cards from Shadows of Valhalla. He's very good. Also, keep in mind, Hanzo's 18. Yellow Ninja is 1900 attack, so like they're both beat sticks. I love decks that can just like use the battle phase without even really doing much. Like against Trick Stars, like they can struggle in like weird situations just with Yellow Ninja being 1900. It's happened before. Comes up actually more than you'd think. But yeah, Yellow Ninja says on normal summon, you can special summon a level 4 lower ninja straight from your hand, but you cannot summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except for ninjas. So that extra deck restriction usually doesn't matter because you just want him as a starter card, because that turn 1, usually you're only going into Saizo anyway out of your extra deck, so that doesn't matter. Like literally at all. Sometimes when you're extending, like on that turn 2, trying to explode, this can be annoying because you want to make your like rank 4. You want to use like your rank 4 toolbox, but you still might want to use him to get that extra monster on board. But usually if you're at that point and you're like nitpicking like that, you usually can win that turn anyway, or you build like an insane board. But he's a really good extender, really nice. I like him a lot. Then I play 2 Upstart Golden Ninja. So this card's kind of like another Hanzo, pretty much, because he says you can send a trap card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon a level 4 lower ninja straight from the deck. You're almost always going to summon Hanzo, because Hanzo's going to search you again. So you're getting like a +1 off of it, essentially. It's just sometimes you draw traps, and the traps are like really nice, and you don't want to discard them. So I thought him at 2 is best. And also, like, you already have Hanzo and Rhoda, so you have 4 Hanzo. He's kind of like 2 more Hanzo, so that's like 6 Hanzo. If you play a third one, you're playing 7 Hanzo, and I guess it buffs consistency, but at the same time, you can draw weird hands where, like, if you see 2 of him, it's, like, pretty bad, and no traps. If you see him without a trap, it's really, really bad. So be careful with him. I thought 1 wasn't enough. 3 was too many, so 2 is where I've landed now. May look at it again in the future, though, so I will keep you updated. Then we have Twilight Ninja Jogan. This card is really solid for the archetype. The biggest problem is, like, if he ever gets, like, destroyed and he gets sent to, like, the top of your extra deck, he's just kind of gone for the entire duel, and that's just, like, a resource completely vanishing. So that can be tough, but he's really important. Like, the main thing is he's a ninja that can special. He's the only ninja, pretty much, that can special itself from hand, so you search him almost all the time off of Hanzo. If you ever search a ninja, it's almost always Jogan, unless you're searching, like, a follow-up play for next turn, where you might search, like, Yellow Ninja instead. But if you don't know, he says reveal a ninjutsu art card in hand, then special summon him from there. That's not a once per turn, so if you open 3 of him and a ninjutsu art card, you can just drop all 3 right there. It's a 2000 beat stick, like I said before. I love decks with built-in beat sticks. It deals piercing, and it's a scale 1. The scales usually don't matter. Like, you never scale this card. I've scaled it 1 time to win a duel, and it was really clutch, but other than that, it's never come up, so... Jogan, really important. Also, he's level 7. Keep that in mind because it's going to become relevant for a card that I tell you in a little bit. Here, then we have Twilight Ninja Kagen. This card is the worst card in your deck. I absolutely hate this card. I think if ninjas were to get support, I think one of the best support cards they could get is an actual good level 1 ninja. You just needed a level 1 ninja to play, honestly. It's 2000 defense, so it does have a big booty, and it does tribute itself, which is relevant. But the most important thing is that literally it's just a level 1 ninja, truthfully. It's sad to say, but that's literally the most important thing about that card. Then we have Twilight Ninja Getsuga the Shogun. He's really cool. You got to play at least 1 of him. Sometimes I want to play 2 because I do play Desires, and sometimes you banish him, and he's a really good extender to have, but for the most part, 1 is enough. Because 2 is just going to be too bricky, way too bricky. And Getsuga says specifically, you can change him from attack mode to defense mode to special summon 2 ninjas from your graveyard. It cannot be up to 2. It has to be exactly 2. That does come up sometimes. It came up the last time I used this deck, and it was really annoying because could I have special 2? I could have actually won that duel, but I ended up losing because I could only special summon 1, and I did not have 2 in the grave. I only had 1. Oh, also, he's level 8, but he says you can tribute him with 1 tribute as long as it's a ninja that you tribute for him, so that's kind of nice as well. He's usually a follow-up play, so when you explode, he's usually part of that explosion. And he's really important in, like, the main combo of the deck. So, there's him. Then, like, the spice is 2 Darkest Diabolos, Lord of the Lair. This card's really good. Sometimes you brick off of it, but most of the time it's not that big a deal. Most of the time you win off of him. So... all of your ninjas are dark except for your yellow ninja and your upstart. So 5 of them are dark and 10 of them are, or five of them are not dark. 10 of them are dark. So most of the time you have a dark one, and also your main combo tributes one of your dark ninjas, tributes a Jogan. So really, really live. If it's in the graveyard, it's live. All that stuff. Also, Twilight Ninja Kagen tributes itself. Its monster effect says you contribute this card to have another ninja monster you control gain 800 attack until the end of the turn. So this card has like a built-in tribute itself effect to like turbo out Diabolos. So I was playing one, but you play like another card in this deck that's a one of. So I wanted to play a second one where like if you banish the one Diabolos and then you drew the other one like off of Desires, the other card that works with this, that it wouldn't be completely dead. So I wanted the second one so that like hopefully you always still have one after resolving a Desires. Then, so these are like super open to interpretation. This is the room I found for hand traps, 4 slots. These can be whatever you want. I would probably advise like Ash and Ogre or Ash and, I don't know, it could be Droll because this deck does explode so hard that second turn that if you can just stop your opponent for 1 turn, you may be able to OTK that next turn. So maybe like Ash and Droll, maybe Ash and Ogre, Ash and if you really love Ghost Bell, that's it. That's a possibility too. These are just the ones I have right here right now. I'm not sure I'll keep them this way. Oh, you could also play Impermanence as well just to help make Upstart, to help ensure Upstart Gold Ninja is always live. That's probably a better option. So maybe Ash and Impermanence. I just don't have Impermanence or Ash yet. I plan on getting them at some point in the future. I just do not have them yet. I gotta find the right time where I feel comfortable dropping that much money on a hand trap. So 4 slots, it can be whatever you want, just whatever works for the meta at that point. Then we move into our spells. So we have 3 Hidden Village of Ninjutsu Arts. This card's really, really important. There's another one of the new support cards with Yellow Ninja. This card says, once per turn, if a ninja monster is summoned, you can add a ninja or ninjutsu art card in your graveyard back to your hand, but cards with its names cannot activate its effects. You can summon them, you just can't activate their effects. So really good, like nice recursion, like resource effect there. And the other effect, the most important effect, says once per turn, if a ninja or ninjutsu art card or cards would be destroyed, you can banish a ninja from your graveyard instead. And that's huge. Like, I've had people try to Exciton Knight me, and I literally, like, I've had like people try and Exciton Knight me, and you literally save the entire board. I've even Exciton Knighted myself, and because I had this on field, I saved every ninja and ninjutsu art card, and my opponent lost their whole field. So like really, really good card, because one of the biggest weaknesses of this deck was that the trap cards, if your opponent can just out the trap card, and now we have like Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, all these cards that just out those so easily, and people main deck Twin Twisters, just so much stuff that outs it easily. This gives you one extra life for that. And sometimes people won't have the resources, or they have to use too many resources inefficiently to out that kind of thing. Then we play Ninjutsu Art Notebook. You only play one of this because it's just part of like the main combo, the main like best like 3-card combo, and you only need one for it. If you banish it, it's not that big a deal. You just want to play one. 2 is too many for me. I was drawing it in too many hands where I just didn't really care to see it. It says once per turn you can send a ninja from your hand to the grave to set a ninjutsu art spell or trap card directly from the deck. It's a continuous, you can do it once per turn, but most of the time you don't have enough ninjas. Like if you open a hand with ninjas, unless you open like this card with like 3 ninjas, you're not even gonna want to get rid of any of them. So that was the problem with playing 2. So I thought 1 was way better, but it's really important for like the main combo. Then we have our recursion spells. So right now these are what I'm playing. I'm playing 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Soul Charge, 1 World Legacy Succession. So going first, Soul Charge is like phenomenal, but going second, Soul Charge is kind of tough because sometimes that battle phase is really important. I was playing World Legacy Succession. I was playing 2 of that. So I was playing 1 Reborn, 2 Succession, and it didn't happen too often, obviously, but I was drawing hands with 2 Succession, and I could only use 1, obviously, because it's hard once per turn. So I put the Soul Charge in instead. I've only seen it twice so far since I've used this deck. One time it was good, the other time it was really, really bad. So we'll see. I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to keep testing it and see where it is, but that's what I have right now. I would recommend playing 3 recursion spells because you don't want to see too many that they clog your hand, but you do want to see 1. So I would recommend 3. I think that's your best bet there. Then I played 2 Pot of Desires. I thought about putting this up to 3. I'll see, but like I've already had duels where I've seen both of these and in the same duel, and I'm just like, oof, 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 it hurts, it hurts. Just a consistency card, not much to say there. There's not a ton of cards you banish that's like really bad, but it can happen where you're like, oh, that stinks. One of the worst things is like because your main combo special summons all 3 Koggen from deck, I've like banished 2 out of the 3 Koggen, so like I was just kind of like, oh, this is lame. 1 Rhoda, you're playing a warrior deck, you have an amazing warrior card, you're going to play Rhoda. You just are, it's going to happen. Then we move to the trap cards. So we have 2 Ninjutsu Art of Duplication. This card is really, really cool. I love this card. It says tribute a ninja you control, special summon any number of ninja monsters from your deck in attack mode, in face-up attack or face-down defense mode, with combined levels equal to or less than the monster you tributed. So mainly what you do is you tribute a Jogan, who's level 7, then you special summon 1 Hanzo in attack mode, and you special summon 3 Koggen in defense mode. So there you go. You trade 1 level 7 with 2000 attack for Hanzo, and 3 of these. Also, Hanzo searches on special summons, so you literally, like, that's a 2-card play that gets you literally, what, +3? So that's why this is so good. It gets you so much advantage, but keep in mind, if this card leaves the field, you destroy the monsters it special summons. So you need to either link those away or get them off the field as fast as you can, or just make sure you have the field spell on board to protect this, should you need to. There, but very good card. Then the next best Ninjutsu Art card is Ninjutsu Art of Shadow Sealing. This card's your best stun card. This card is amazing. This card says, tribute a ninja monster you control, then target 1 monster your opponent controls, and banish it. And that zone it was in cannot be used while it's banished. If this card leaves the field, your opponent gets their banished monster back to that same zone. But the main thing you do is you go first, you put a Saizo in your extra monster zone, and then you do this on your opponent. As soon as your opponent summons a Sold or anything to their extra monster zone, you use this, you banish their monster, and now you have a monster in one zone, and the other zone cannot be used. So essentially, this card is like a pseudo extra link. And that's how you can just steal games. This is the alternate win condition I brought up earlier. There's almost like Droll reincarnationing somebody or extra linking somebody. Like it's just an easy alternate win condition, and it's just one card. Like this card is so problematic for people. But keep in mind, again, it's frail. If that card leaves the field, your opponent gets back their monster. So keep that in mind. Then we play one Ninjutsu Art of Super Transformation. This card is for your Darkest Diabolos. This card says target one ninja monster you control and one monster your opponent controls. Send them both to the graveyard, and then you can special summon a dragon, sea serpent, or dinosaur. But we play the dragon, obviously. Straight from the deck, whose level is less than or equal to the combined levels of the two monsters. So if you're playing a deck that you know plays level 4s, you could tribute like a Hanzo or a Yellow Ninja or a Upstart. But most of the time you're going to be going, like, you're going to be tributing Jogan. And just because, like, as soon as they summon something, you know it's going to be at least level 1. So there you go, free Diabolos. Not free, but you turbo Diabolos out. He's a problem. He can't be targeted. He's a huge monster. Yeah. And that's that. Keep in mind, though, this says when this card leaves the field, banish the monster you summon with it. So you can lose Diabolos completely like that. So again, very frail, but very powerful as well. And then the last Ninjutsu Art card, which I see no deck profiles play this card, which is Armor Ninjutsu Art of Rust Mist. This card says when you control a ninja monster, anytime your opponent special summons a monster, that monster's attack is permanently cut in half. People sleep on this card so much. I've seen like literally no ninja deck profiles playing this, but literally sometimes you have Field Spell and you have both of the main traps being like Duplication and Shadow Sealing, and you still have a search. Like you have a Grandmaster Saizo search to set, and you're just like, yeah, you know what? This is like a nice little piece that just like eliminates the battle phase completely for my opponent. Even if they extra link you, like as long as they didn't respect this card, their biggest monster is going to be like 1200. Like nothing. Like there's nothing. They can't do anything. Like they'll summon a huge extra link. You can't do it, but you're going to beat over everything. You're just going to poke for game like at that point. So this card gets really underrated, but I think it can be like the icing on the cake to like a board with like, with like a couple traps as well. So really cool card. I think people underrate it. And then I play a Solemn Package like Strike, Warning, Judgment. I wouldn't blame you if you played like 2 Strike and a Judgment or wiggled room around here to like puts play a full package where you just play like Judgment, Warning, 3 Strike. I wouldn't blame you at all. These cards are so powerful. Seeing these in your opening hand like makes like okay boards like so good. Like this card can like end a turn against like certain decks. So so good. You gotta play them in a deck like this. So that's it for the main deck. That's 40 cards exactly. Right now, this is how I want to play the deck. I think this is like really close. I've tried a bunch of different stuff. Like really, I've tried like a bunch of different builds. But let's move to the extra deck now. So we've got 2 Ninja Grandmaster Saizo. This is the last like really good support card we got in the new stuff. He's a Link 2, takes any 2 ninjas. He says during your main phase you can set a Ninjutsu Art spell or trap card directly from the deck. That's a hard one's return. It's literally just a free Ninjutsu Art card. If you don't have the field spell, get a field spell so you can protect yourself. If you don't have one of your stun cards, get the stun card. If you don't have duplication, get duplication. Like your whole goal turn 1 is to set up him pointing at anything, something, some other monster, and having all 3 of those cards. Your field spell and both of those. And then like the duel's looking pretty good from there. So Saizo, really, really good card. Link Karibo. Link 1, you play the level 1 ninjas, the Kagen. So you play this to make like possible like Saryuja and other cards as well, just getting different names on the board. And also it protects you, so if you need to leave it up. Removal cards, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn. Hanzo searches you so many ninjas like that you're going to end up with cards in the hand, like so you don't mind the discarding. There, really nice. Decode Talker. Decode Talker is mostly there for like Sky Striker, where like you can make Saizo and then link up to him just to like make like finalize your board pretty much, because with Saizo there, it doesn't defend itself as well. It's not as big. But with Decode Talker, like against Sky Striker, it's so good. Like if you set this up with like 2 rank 4s under it, like Sky Strikers are gonna struggle so much, like against that. So because he's going to be too big for them to get over. He can negate like Widow Anchors and stuff. He's just such a problem right there. Oh, also, one thing I didn't mention is that Saizo has an effect that says while he's pointing at something, the reason I said you got to set up a board with him pointing at something is while he's pointing at something, he cannot be targeted with an attack or with card effects. So he's like really, really protected in that situation. So I've set up like really bad, crazy boards. My opponent could do stuff, but they couldn't get to Saizo. They could get rid of the stuff under him, but after that, they didn't have enough resources to get to him himself. And then I just set a new Ninjutsu art card next turn and like continued like to just grind like that. So that's a really nice protection effect. As far as Link 4s go right now, I have Borreload and Saryuja. You play Saryuja because you play like Diabolos and the level 8 ninja, which is a really good extender. And if you do his effect to draw 4, there's a good chance you'll draw one of those, and then you can just special that out. So that's why I really like Saryuja. And he opens up a ton of zones. And then we have Borreload. Honestly, this should probably be Boral Sword. I just don't have Boral Sword yet. Or you should play both. Like, it's up to you. He definitely comes up sometimes, but Boral Sword's probably better because he'd probably make the difference in making some OTKs sometimes in that second turn. But they're both really good. You should probably play them both overall. And then we have the rank 4s, because you do play a decent amount of rank 4s. You end up churning them out a decent amount. So Blade Armor Ninja is here just because with Yellow Ninja's effect, where if you use his effect, you can only go into ninjas from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. He's there for pushing for game, and also he's a ninja. So there you go. Pretty basic, gives you a second attack, helps you push for a lot of damage. Tornado Dragon, because you have no back row removal in the main deck, so your back row removal is literally like Tornado Dragon, Phoenix, Unicorn. Like, that's all you have really for back row removal. Maybe I should contemplate putting in like Trisbania, but like if the deck doesn't get to that quick, that like if your opponent had back row, they're probably keeping you from getting to Trisbania in the first place. So I don't really think that's the best way. And then I have like Castell, Baguska, Karen Gorgon, and the Utopia package. So absolutely, you need these 3, I think. So like the Utopia package and Baguska you need, because certain times you can just set up a board where it's like your first turn board is like, if you have good extenders, you can do Saizo pointing at Baguska, and like no decks can play, like a lot of decks cannot play through that. So it's actually a pretty decent board, so I really like having Baguska. These obviously help you with problematic monsters and just win games out of nowhere. And then these 2 are up to you. Like, I would probably take out one of these for Boral Sword if I ever got it. But like Karen Gorgon's like nice. He's huge. He's 2450. He doesn't negate, but he changes targets of targeting cards, which is really good against like certain matchups like Sky Striker. And Castella's like that generic spin other than like Phoenix. Like if I didn't want to put 3 resources and a discard into Phoenix, I could just, and I had the materials to make Castell, I could just make Castell and do it. So that's why I play him, if it's like easier to do that on this in terms of like resources and stuff, if it's going to benefit me more. But overall, I think this is pretty good. This is like pretty close to where I want the deck to be. And do not sleep on this deck, guys. Like, I know you're saying like, oh, it's Ninjas 2018, but this deck is legitimately tier 3. Like, I would not be surprised if like a truly good Ninja player like could like top a YCS. It definitely can top a regionals. I know it can. It's way underrated. It just may need a little fine tuning because this is just me. What if like multiple people worked on a deck together and came up with the best list possible? But this is just a guide. Feel free to change up some things if you want to build them yourself. The deck is really pretty cheap other than like some generic extra deck monsters. Like that's pretty much it. It's like really cheap. Yeah, going through these. Yeah, this deck's really cheap. You can only play 4 hand traps. Yeah, so feel free to play this deck, guys. Let me know if you like this video. I have other deck profiles coming up in the future. I went pretty in-depth with these. Let me know if you want me to like shorten it up a little bit or go more in-depth. Who knows? I don't know. I don't think you'd want that because then we're looking at 30+ minutes. But this is where we are, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, subscribe for more. I got more deck profiles coming. I finally have like a little tiny setup here to record deck profiles on, and yeah, I'm going to get the heck out of here. You all enjoy your Monday, Tuesday. I guess it's almost Tuesday. Dang. Crazy. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you.